OC Financial Media presents, in association with CHL Mortgage, as heard on KTLK AM1150, from LA to Orange County.
Your host, Dino Katsiametis.
It's about your real estate. It's about your money. From your estate to real estate, it's Money Matters with Dino.
Welcome back to Money Matters with Dino on K-Talk AM1150. Now, if you have any questions for myself or my guests here today, give me a call at 949-720-1616. That's 949-720-1616, or check us out online at moneymatterswithdino.com. This next segment is brought to you by CFAM Credit Solutions. Guys, I know some of you have perfect credit and everything is wonderful, but some of you, even good people, have made mistakes or have let something slip by that they didn't even know existed. So if you have a small blemish on your credit report or a big one, I need some help getting some of that stuff removed, call up CFAM Credit Solutions. They will help you out, and I'm telling you, a good credit score equals a better interest rate, and that saves you money. So it's definitely worth it. So if you need any help on that, also, if you just want to talk to me first, call me at 949-720-1616. Now, joining us today in our discussion panel with the experts is Ryan Kleis and Robert Ross from Reverse Mortgage Educators. Our topic today is how a reverse mortgage can save your life. Kind of sounds a little dramatic, but I know you guys have some good stories that actually does save people's lives, and I can't wait to hear that. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us, Dino.
So first, Ryan, did I pronounce your last name right?
Absolutely not.
Oh, gosh, that's why you were looking at me funny. Yeah. How do you pronounce it?
It's Kleis. So, but your pronunciation is how it should be according to how it's spelled. But it's actually Kleis. It sounds like nice,
but not.
Kleis.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
and Ryan, how are you?
I'm good. I'm Robert, by the way.
I'm sorry. All right, let's get on something important here. Ryan and Robert, tell me about your company and what you guys do. What do you specialize in?
Well, we're reverse mortgage educators, and it's pretty clear what we do. We are a lending institution, but first and foremost, we're educators, and we feel that right now there's a large gap, or there's a lot of misunderstandings about a reverse mortgage, and it's a very powerful financial tool. So our goal is to, one, educate, and two, actually be educated, because we feel like it's a two-way road, and there's not a lot of education coming back where we need to know a lot about our clients and the consumers out there to try to help them to use the product better. So, Rob, would you say that sums up?
Yeah, there's just a big void out there, and the public needs to know more about it. All levels, not just our demographic, but the kids themselves, the grandchildren, everybody.
Well, I'm really interested in hearing about that, because obviously being in the lending industry for as long as I have, I actually didn't know much about it, and I'm one of these people that if I don't truly know about it and can't specialize in it, then I don't touch it. And recently it seems like it's been coming up more and more. So I started educating myself on it a little bit, and I think I probably know just enough to be dangerous. So with you guys, the education process I think is what's really important here, and you take a different approach at it. You're not selling, you're educating. And ultimately, the people we have here on the show and the people I like to work with, it's not about the almighty dollar. It's about really what you're going to do for the person. And that's what I appreciate best about you guys. So before we get into the questions, I want to repeat some of the information Phil gave in the last segment, because it was really good. More than 600,000 reverse mortgages have taken advantage of the benefits of a reverse mortgage, which allows homeowners 62 or older to convert a portion of their home equity into tax-free cash without giving up title. And that's important. I know you guys are going to touch on it a little bit later, because the key word is they're not giving up title. They still own the house. And besides the cash, the reverse mortgage borrowers will no longer have to pay a monthly mortgage as long as they live in the house. Today's show is about the benefits of a reverse mortgage, and is a reverse mortgage right for you? So you two are the resident experts and co-founders of Reverse Mortgage Educators, and are here to help us understand the benefits and the various applications, with most surprising being that you can use the reverse mortgage to buy properties. And that's, I know, very interesting, because nobody thinks of it as being able to go out and purchase a new home with that. So we got a lot of great information on that. And I think the real estate agents out there and the financial planners should really, pay attention to this, because it's a whole other market that most people don't know about. So, guys, let's just get right into the questions here. Let me begin by asking you a question. I know our listeners should want to know, who should consider purchasing a reverse mortgage?
Well, there's several people out there that would benefit from it. Most commonly is the one that has a mortgage currently, and they can't afford the mortgage payment. So what we're finding out in the marketplace is that we're able to extinguish their forward mortgage, or the traditional mortgage, with the reverse. And by doing so, it eliminates their mortgage payment and changes their lifestyle from a monthly cash point stand base. So it's quite a interesting concept there. That's one of the biggest ones right now.
So and again, just for terminology's sake, a forward mortgage is the standard 30-year fix that most people have.
Exactly.
And you're paying that off, basically.
Correct. And
getting a new one that is actually reversing, which I'm guessing means it's eating up the equity.
Right.
Is that right?
Well, basically it's a deferred interest loan.
So instead of, if, for example, all your life you put money into to a 401k or something like that, instead you're pulling it back out of your house slowly and living off of it. And it makes sense to me, because your house shouldn't always be looked at as a retirement vehicle, but with the way housing prices go up and all that stuff, and if you don't have the income coming in, you got to look at it somewhere.
That's right.
The equity's there for you to take a look at. Quick story, because I know we have a bunch of questions here. I had a client that I talked to one time about getting a reverse mortgage, and she was about $1,000 shy every month of meeting her expenses, and she was going in the hole. And she started crying on the phone. It was my first experience with a reverse mortgage, because I had never dealt with them before. And I felt so bad for this lady. And I'm sitting here talking to her, and as I'm listening to it all, her daughter wouldn't give her any money because she didn't have it. She wouldn't sell the house because she wanted to leave her daughter something. And she was too scared to do a reverse mortgage because she thought that her daughter was going to lose this house or get really mad at her and not talk to her anymore. And I sat there going to myself, this poor lady is afraid of her daughter not talking to her anymore because she's going to use up some of the equity in this house. And she's not eating the way she should be. She's not going to the places she should be in her old age. And I really just felt horrible listening to this story. I'm assuming you guys hear stuff like this all day long.
That's a common story, very common.
Yeah, and there's actually some interesting figures that are driving the product in the marketplace in relation to your story. She's $1,000 short a month. Well, the studies show that when you retire, you still have 80% of your bills. However, you only have 57% of your income. So there's your $1,000 you're talking about right there.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, we have 10,000 people hitting 65 every day right now. Okay, with the baby boomer generation is 78 million from the time after World War II. So we have a tremendous shift in what's going to be happening with the retiring population. And according to the University of Massachusetts did a study, 47% of people 65 and older don't even have enough money to pay for basic living expenses. So we have to ask ourselves, what are we really doing when we have equity in our homes, but we can't even pay for our basic necessities? So the figures and everything are really telling us something, that we need to find better solutions to help our aging population. And with that being said, we can see where the calls are coming from, where people need this information, and there's just a lack of this information out there. Okay, so when we talk about people running out of money and things happening, it doesn't necessarily mean they have no money, but it means that they probably have a gap. from what they're receiving, maybe between their pensions that they have and their Social Security, which, by the way, is slated to run out in 2033. So the job for a lot of planners is to really figure out how to fill these gaps in. And so that's where we really want to come in and say, look, we see the gaps. Here's how we can help fill those gaps, and let's go down that road a little bit.
So now I know why my mom was pushing me so hard as a kid. She kept instilling in my head, you're going to make a lot of money in case you ever have to take care of us. So I think I'm going to start instilling that into my kid's head. All right. So when is a reverse mortgage a bad idea?
Well, one of the main things when you have a reverse mortgage, you need to maintain your property taxes and insurance. So if that's an issue now and a reverse mortgage isn't going to help you with that type of bill, then you probably shouldn't get one. You have to maintain your property taxes and insurance on the home. That's one of the major guidelines.
In a forward mortgage, as we said, a traditional 30-year fixed, there's impound accounts, so it has to be made monthly. Is there anything like that set up for reverse mortgages?
They can opt for it today, and they actually might mandate that down the road, but that's another segment.
Yeah.
But that's something that could be on the horizon. We're looking at that. Probably in October they could be bringing that out. So.
Okay, good. And so, what does it mean when a reverse mortgage is federally guaranteed?
Well, first of all, by saying it's federally guaranteed, it's coming from FHA, which is an acronym for Federal Housing Administration. And what they do is they put an insurance policy on the product, which protects the heirs, the borrower themselves, the lender, in the case it gets into a negative equity position. And so this is what makes it a non-recourse loan and makes it the funds guaranteed for life.
So you just said something that triggered a question for me. I'm assuming other people are going to say the same thing. What happens if the values drop and there's no more equity? Can they stop the agreement they made?
They could refinance out of it or pay it off with cash or a combination.
Can the lender stop making payments to you?
No, they cannot. It depends on how they set it up in the beginning. If they take what's called a 10-year payment, which is a payment forever, as long as they're in the house occupying as their primary residence and maintain the property taxes and insurance, they will constantly send that check to their front doorstep.
Gosh, there really is so many things that people don't understand about this loan, and the education that you guys provide is amazing. So, with that said, what are the safeguards that the government has put together to protect the actual borrower?
Well, for one, up front, they got to do what's called reverse mortgage counseling. And that's a layer of protection that the consumer gets after they speak with us. They go through another counseling session, which educates them even further. So by the time they're done through all that, they can literally do our jobs.
Is that, all right, just I guess to put it in plain English, is that a BS little thing that happens just so people get a loan, like it's a 1, 2, 3 quick step process, or is it a true, counseling session that really means something?
Great question. It truly is a very informational session. They even go over other options for the consumer and try to figure out different plans and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's very informational, and they really truly fall in love with the product at that moment.
Okay. Ryan, is it difficult to qualify for a reverse mortgage?
The answer to that would be a resounding no. You probably know in traditional forward loans, you have to worry about debt ratios. You got to worry about credit scores. You got to worry about, do they have assets seasoned? I mean, you could go through a litany of things that these people need to prove to get a loan. And that's really where this product shines. As of right now, we need to know that you have equity. We need to know that you're of a certain age. And we need to know that you haven't had an actual foreclosure in the last 2 years, which is an FHA guideline. Okay. If you meet those basic requirements, then you can move forward to the reverse mortgage. And with the retiring population, this is a very important point, I believe, because when you retire, and going back to a statistic that you only have 57% of your income from before, if you want to do something, move out of your house, buy another house, be able to take out a loan on your house, you don't have the income to qualify anymore. You could have stellar credit. You could have plenty of income. But when the lender on a traditional loan, even on an equity line, goes to see if you can pay that money back to them, well, your income's now 43% smaller. You're not going to get the loan. So that's where this is really going to become even more powerful as we have more of the baby boomers and just that shift in population retiring.
Gosh, this is great information, and we have to break for a commercial, but you're listening to Money Matters with Dino on K-Talk AM1150. If you have any questions at all about anything you've heard here today, just call us at 949-720-1616. Don't hesitate. Pick up a pen. Write this number down. It's 949-720-1616, and we'll call you right back. Stick with us, because after the break, we got a ton of other questions we're going to be answering here on how a reverse mortgage can save your life. We'll be right back.
Finally, a reputable legal firm. CDA Law Center, a nationally recognized nonprofit homeowner advocate, one of the most trusted firms in the country for helping consumers with their loan modification process. CDA's attorneys have decades of combined experience guiding their clients through the very complex and choppy waters of loan modification. Call 877-499-4435, 877-499-4435. Finally, honest and ethical advice to gain real results. Call CDA Law Center at 877-499-4435. That's 877-499-4435. Or check them out online at cdalawcenter.com.
If you're a business owner or have a high net worth, it's important you have the proper insurance coverages. However, from a financial standpoint, it's even more important to have someone else pay the premiums for you. That's right, it's called insurance premium financing. In short, it means we use a combination of loans and secured assets to fund the payment of your premiums for your life insurance coverage. With this unique program, there's no need to pay expensive annual insurance premiums or estate taxes out of pocket or out of your company's cash flow. Your assets remain intact, protected from creditors, while your family and business receive the security they need. I'll bet you'd like more information. Simply call James Burns at 866-544-8825. That's 866-544-8825. Or go to whitediamondinsurance.com.
When it comes to purchasing or refinancing your home, turn to someone with experience, CHL Mortgage. It doesn't matter if you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing the home of your dreams, or refinancing. The team of mortgage specialists at CHL Mortgage provide you with superior knowledge and service. Their ultimate goal? Getting the highest quality loan at low rates. Their second goal? To create a lasting relationship with every client and continue to provide excellent service for years to come. If you're looking to purchase or refinance, call the experts at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335. Get additional details at www.chl.cc or call their office at 888-814-3335.
Welcome back. This is Dino with Money Matters with Dino. We have an incredible show going on here today, how a reverse mortgage can save your life. And we're speaking to Rob and Ryan from Reverse Mortgage Educators. And, you know, one of the reasons why I love doing this show all the time is the quality of guests we have on the show here and the information that is put out week after week. The education process, I absolutely love it. I hope you're enjoying this show as much as I am. And I just want to jump right back into these questions because this hour is going to fly right by. So, guys, I'm going to skip some of the formalities and just move right on.
That's great.
So how do groups like the AARP feel about reverse mortgages?
Well, they conducted a study of reverse mortgage borrowers and found that 93% of those borrowers had a positive effect on their life with the reverse mortgage product. So obviously you can see they feel pretty strongly about it being a great solution for the demographic.
So how do we even get this, negative connotation then if everybody's so happy with it?
Well, that's what our job's all about. We're out there trying to educate and get the real truth out there about the product.
Well, good. All right, so let's talk about how the loan works. Break that down for me.
Well, so basically, obviously they got to be 62 or older, and based on their age, interest rates, value of the home, and they're basically going to figure out a certain percentage of their value they're going to be able to borrow. And that amount can actually be received in a couple different formats. One is a lump sum, one is a monthly installment to them, or left in a form of a line of credit as well. So They can set up any way they want. As a matter of fact, they can do a collage of that 3. And it just comes down to their actual needs for that particular client.
Do you guys have a particular one you recommend to people? Because it's kind of like lottery winners, right? You give it all to them, they spend it.
That's right. Well, I have a rule of thumb that if they need about 80% or more of the funds they can have access to, I would say go ahead and do a lump sum and put the other rest into some sort of a interest-bearing account. But if they really don't have an initial need for it, I say leave it in the form of a line of credit and let it sit there at your disposal whenever you want it. It's not accruing any interest. It certainly doesn't hurt anything, and it's a great vehicle for them to tap into if they need the cash.
Perfect. So and this is a big question. I think we slightly answered it, but who owns the home?
They own the home. Much like a traditional forward loan, they pledge their title for collateral. And so there's a lender present there on title with them. So they still own their home. There's just a lien on it. That's it.
So it's not like Mr. and Mrs. John Smith joint tenants and USA Bank.
No.
It's not like that.
No, just a lien holder.
Just a lien holder. Okay.
That's it.
And to follow up with Rob there, just like a traditional mortgage, when you go to the house is sold, any remaining equity is going to be passed on to the estate or the heirs or whoever is going to be in charge of the house at that point in time can direct what happens to that. So that's what really makes it, like I say, a lot like a forward mortgage or a traditional mortgage, in that you are still able to take part in the appreciation of the home.
I got a good question. Can the home be in a trust?
Yes, it can.
Can you put your son or daughter on title?
No, it has to be in the trust as their trust. That no other can go on title along with them.
Let's say I own a home with my father, 50-50. Can 50% of the mortgage be a reverse mortgage and the other 50? I'm creative. I'm trying.
Maybe someday, but
Okay.
not in current guidelines, no.
You just made underwriters' skins turn everywhere across America.
That's right.
Can a reverse mortgage help seniors to downsize to a different home and save them some money?
You want to grab that one, Ryan?
Yeah, I'll grab that one. Absolutely. And, that's really part of a planning scenario that you need to walk down when you're talking to and looking at the situation. When we talk about the shortage of income, when we talk about all the different things that could be happening, then we start to really address the questions that need to be asked. Your current living situation, you've retired, you're an empty nester. Do you still want to be living in the 3,000, 2,500 square foot home that has to be taken care of and do all these things? Or is it time to maybe think about a different house or a different change? And a lot of people ask themselves some questions, and they may call their real estate agent and they say, hey, Bob, this house is too big and, we don't want to be spending money on it, so we're ready to move. Bob says, great, let's get you qualified for a loan before we go out and shopping for the home for you. Immediately, what will almost probably come of it is that, again, they'll probably not qualify for a loan for some reason, most likely due to reduction in income. So if the real estate agent doesn't know at that point in time the alternatives, then they kind of think they're dead in the water. Well, the answer to that is a resounding no, that you do have options. And the option is you can use the reverse mortgage to purchase a new home. And what's even great about that is, depending on the equity you have in your home, when you do sell that home and buy another home, you can even scrape some of that equity off the table, put it into your account. Now you're buying a home, you have no more mortgage payment in that new home. You've taken and actually put money into your bank account. You've completely changed your lifestyle, probably your quality of life moving forward in your retirement years, which, hey, these are the golden years, right? In your golden years, do you want to be worried about how much money I have?
I got a question for you. So, real life example, earlier this week, I have a returning client. He called me up. He's like, can my wife and I just come talk to you? We have a dilemma. We don't know what to do. We just want your advice. They just bought a big, beautiful $1 million+ house, but they're gearing up for retirement, probably about 5-6 years away, they said. And they had put their name in one of those lottery things for a brand new development that just came out down in Huntington Beach. And guess what? They got called. They never thought they'd get called. Now they got called, but they just bought this other house, but they really like this one, and it's a little bit more of a retirement house, but can we afford to buy both and sell one and all this different stuff? So Dr. D, I'm not going to say your name, but Dr. D, he's a doctor. He makes great money now, and he's like, I don't want to keep working. I want to stop. So can they, I'm guessing they can keep the house they just bought, keep living in it. Actually, they'll rent that one out, go ahead and buy this new one and buy it as a reverse mortgage. So they now don't have to carry two houses. And then if they want, when they retire, they can sell the one house, take whatever appreciation they made off of it, and just pay off this other house. Probably a perfect scenario, right?
That sounds great.
That's a scenario that is absolutely out there, and a lot of people don't know that they can do those things. It's all going to be part of a good plan in deciding where you want to be at, where you want to be living at, how you're going to manage your money going forward. And again, that's where we like to really sit down and talk about some education and talk about any kind of financial planning they've done to make sure that we are, that we know all the everything that's on the table. We know that it's everything in play. A lot of times people will call in or will talk to us and they'll say, hey, I need a reverse mortgage. I'll say, okay, great. Obviously, they've come to the conclusion that they need it, but we don't know why. It might be for a reason that we don't think is such a great reason. Yeah. Maybe they want a reverse mortgage because they are passionate about gambling. Yeah. Okay. I'm probably going to have a hard time recommending that this guy take his biggest asset and put it on black.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's why it's like I said, the education is a two-way road, and it's very important for people in our industry to make sure that they are pulling that information out and we're being educated by our consumer as to what their needs are and what are they doing with this product. And, then we can make educated decisions.
If you just jumped into your car, this is an incredible show today. We're talking about how a reverse mortgage can save your life. If you have any questions at all, call us at 949-720-1616. That's 949-720-1616. Or you can even look these guys up. Guys, what's your website?
It's reversemortgageeducators.com.
Reversemortgageeducators.com. All right, so going back to the questions, real estate agents don't have a clue about this stuff. And there's an entire market out there of people that could be buying houses. Can you buy a second home or a rental property or something like that even with this reverse mortgage?
Rental home, no, because it's got to be owner occupied.
Okay.
Second home, it's a matter of just if they can manage to live in it 6 months out of the year, then it's okay.
So in our situation here in Southern California, I know a lot of my clients and personal friends, they have a second home in Palm Desert, for example, and they literally do go up there half the year. It's a perfect example of another situation, right?
That's right.
The other side to that coin as well is that if they're not going to live in that home 6 months out of the year, well, they can do the reverse mortgage on their primary, and that might give them enough cash to be able to qualify to buy that other property. So, yes, you can buy a rental property, but you got to have the verbiage right and how you do about the situation. And I know there's a little bit of a growing movement where people are actually looking at the fact that, okay, I'm sitting in my house, I have all this equity. I don't have a lot of income. What do I do? Do I just do this reverse mortgage and pull out the cash and put it to the bank and I get a CD rate of 1%? That doesn't sound very exciting, okay? However, and I will say this, with the right plan in place, if you were to take a reverse and pull that money out and you had enough money to buy a property, not only are you buying perhaps a rental property, but a / vacation property where you have now generated income from yourself, from the equity in your property, and gotten yourself a vacation home at the same time. Mm-hmm. Okay, so again, it's all in the way that you analyze your situation and create the plan.
Got it. So guys, I know I just gave the phone number out, but again, call us at 949-720-1616. Or you can even look these guys up direct at reversemortgageeducators.com. There is a ton of information here that we need to get through, so we're just going to keep rolling right through this. Let's talk about the massive amounts of baby boomers that are retiring in the recession. In this recession, how would this fit into their financial plan?
It's a tough time to retire, some would say. Of course, you can always work into your 80s. If that's a plan for somebody. But, we have historically low rates of return on safe investments right now. If you're looking at a 5-year lockup CD and you're only getting 1.6 or 1.7% on the high end on your money, $100,000, that's $1,600 a year. Okay, so when you're looking at retiring, not only are expenses up for how you're retiring, but your return on your investments are down. So it's a point in time where you really have to, again, look at ways to leverage what you do have. And that way you can keep your quality of life or even improve your quality of life, which is really what we want to see people doing when they retire. Because you're supposed, again, this is supposed to be one of the best times of your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's where we have to get people back to.
What about doing an equity line instead?
Well,
and only using it when you need it.
Well, the thing with the equity lines is that basically, again, they have to qualify for it. There's an income requirement there. There's a FICO score requirement and, and an equity requirement. And unlike a reverse mortgage, a traditional equity line is not guaranteed funds. So the lender reserves the right to freeze the line for any reason.
Which happened many times over in the past 5 years, right?
Absolutely. So,
and it's an adjustable rate that typically can go up to 18%.
That's true. So it's not a good thing. And there's also a payment involved with it as well. We're trying to better their financial standpoint on a monthly basis. And so by doing a reverse mortgage using that line of credit, it's guaranteed to be there whenever you want it, and there's no payment on it. It's a great solution over a traditional.
All right, well, we're going to break real quick for a commercial, but we have one of your clients, Mrs. Wright, coming on air here just a little bit, talking about her actual scenario and how it changed her life. This segment was brought to you by Citywide Home Loans, the bank I work for, and of course we don't do the reverse mortgages, we do the standard 30-year fixes, but now I'm all intrigued with this reverse mortgage thing. So I am very curious to see what Mrs. Wright has to say. Make sure you stick with us because it is going to be a great little interview here with her. Call us at 949-720-1616. That's 949-720-1616. Or check us out online at moneymatterswithdino.com. We'll be right back.
When it comes to purchasing or refinancing your home, turn to someone with experience, CHL Mortgage. It doesn't matter if you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing the home of your dreams, or refinancing. The team of mortgage specialists at CHL Mortgage provide you with superior knowledge and service. Their ultimate goal? Getting the highest quality loan at low rates. Their second goal? To create a lasting relationship with every client and continue to provide excellent service for years to come. If you're looking to purchase or refinance, call the experts at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335. Get additional details at www.chl.cc or call their office at 888-814-3335. Finally, a reputable legal firm. CDA Law Center, a nationally recognized nonprofit homeowner advocate, one of the most trusted firms in the country for helping consumers with their loan modification process. CDA's attorneys have decades of combined experience guiding their clients through the very complex and choppy waters of loan modification. Call 877-499-4435, 877-499-4435. Finally, honest and ethical advice to gain real results. Call CDA Law Center at 877-499-4435. That's 877-499-4435. Or check them out online at cdalawcenter.com.
Thanks for hanging with us. This is Money Matters with Dino on K-Talk AM1150. I'm your host, Dino Katsiametis, and we are here talking to Rob and Ryan from Reverse Mortgage Educators, and we have a special guest, Mrs. Wright, who is a reverse mortgage holder, and she's going to share her story with us. But before we get into that, I just want to throw out our telephone numbers because there's a lot of information here that we've been giving out today, and I really want to make sure that you act on it. You don't just sit and listen and let it pass. Write this number down, and if you're not ready to call today, write it down, save it, and call us next week or the week after or next month even. Our phone number is 949-720-1616. That's 949-720-1616. And remember, this isn't just if you're 62 years old. If you're a child of somebody that could qualify for a reverse mortgage, you should also look into this for the better good of your parents and your entire family. So this segment is brought to you by CDA Law Center, expert loan modifications with decades of legal experience in the real estate market. So Rob and Ryan, we were talking about the reverse mortgages, and I had said something earlier that Mrs. Wright was a client of yours, but I was corrected. She's actually not. You just picked her up off the street.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you something about this industry is that I can and Rob can educate you, and we can talk about these things all day long. But the power really comes when you find somebody that has one and you see the excitement. And I met Mrs. Wright and her husband, and we were talking about reverse mortgages, and they said we have one, and they started talking about it, and they were the enthusiasm and how it had changed their lives. It blew me away. Even still, and I was like,
So do you just hang out at the community centers, or where did you guys meet? And introduce her for us.
Yeah. Well, this is Carolyn Wright, and actually they came into our office, and we were talking about some things, and including reverse mortgages, and so it was just a happenstance, I guess you could say, a good one, because I think you're going to enjoy it.
Well, Mrs. Wright, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming here today. Tell us why you decided to get a reverse mortgage.
Well, during the period when the stock market went in the toilet.
When did that happen?
My husband lost all of our savings. And so I said, okay, we've got to gain this back. And at the same time, I had crowns on my teeth that were, the dentist said you need implants. Until I went to the dentist and found out the price of implants, that was a horrid shock. If you've ever priced an implant, they say $5,000 like it's 5 cents. And I needed 3 of them, and I thought, oh my God. So that sort of was our inspiration to do something. And then we went and we received the reverse mortgage, which not only gave me my implants, gave my husband of 56 years another few years to live.
Well, that's important.
But we could pay our bills, and more important than that, we helped our grandson get through college, so now he's in his master's program.
Kids just keep on taking, don't they?
Oh, let me tell you.
It never stops. Okay, so take us through the process. You got us to how the pain, I guess, you felt in order to compel you to go inquire about one. But once you did, take us through the process. Was it difficult? Was it confusing? Was it overwhelming?
No, it wasn't. And the counseling was very good. It was kind of funny because we picked a counseling organization that was like a half mile from us. So we thought if all else fails, we can walk over and meet the counselor face to face. When we got the counselor on the phone, we found out he was calling from Texas. So our counselor, who was in Texas, gave us a very in-depth counseling and gave us all the ins and outs of the program. And then we get our certificate. We gave it to the young man that was putting the program together for us.
And how long did the counseling take?
I would say maybe 45 minutes on the phone.
Okay. And you were able, it wasn't just a speech he was reading? Were you able to ask a lot of questions?
Oh, no, it was all questions and answers.
And he was well informed. He knew how to answer in a way you could understand?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. In fact, we've often told people to look for the Texas guys because they were the best when it comes to counseling.
And then how long did the process take from the time you initiated till the time you ended up with money in your pocket?
I would say about 2 months.
That's not bad.
So it's not bad at all.
No.
And the point that we had to make...
Did you ask for a little bit of an advance just so I can get those implants going?
No, I did. I started interviewing dentists and saying, I don't believe this price. Come on, give me your best price. There has to be one better. But no, it took that much time. And then we were well on our way. We took our 5 youngest grandchildren on a cruise to Mexico for 7 nights. In fact, we're leaving this weekend on another cruise to Alaska. So what it does, it gives you the ability to live. I'm 78, my husband's 82, and we have money to not only give to the family, but to make sure all the kids go through college and everything else.
Now, what option did you take? Because earlier we spoke about there was basically, I believe, 3 different options. You can get it all at one time, you can get it on a monthly basis, or you can kind of do a combination of things.
We took it all at one time.
Okay.
I wanted all of it in my hand.
And you just figure you're going to go on as many cruises as you can before
Absolutely.
that day comes for you. Okay.
And we were at that time avid golfers, so we have golfed all over the world, including St. Andrews. And
Gosh, that's excellent. I've many times over told my clients that if you're in your golden years or your last years or your tired years or whatever you want to call it, don't waste them. And by all means, don't save it all for your children. And children sometimes don't like me for saying that, but I got to tell you, if you're going to get mad at your parents because they didn't leave you a little bit more, and they struggled in their final years. I see way too many elderly people struggling in their final years, even when they have money. They won't spend it in fear of not having enough to leave, for somebody. And I personally, I can't understand that. You've worked so hard your whole life, especially your age group has gone through things that my age group has never gone through before. So to not enjoy those final years, I'm really glad you guys took the step to do that. And it sounds, but judging from the smile on your face, it sounds like you're really enjoying yourself and it's changed your life.
it has changed our lives, and we are enjoying it. And we told the kids that when the last one of us kicks the bucket, that they have 12 full months to either refinance or sell the house or sell the property. And it's up to them then. And they can therefore inherit what is left of the estate.
Well, Mrs. Wright, thank you for coming on the show. We sure hope you don't kick the bucket anytime soon. and hopefully we can have you back here again in a year or so you can tell us what countries you visited and what golf courses you played on.
Okay, thank you very much for having me.
Okay, thank you. Well, we typically do this Ask Dino segment where I ask a bunch of questions, and I'm still going to try and get a couple of them out, although we got very little time left. So, Phil, lay it on me.
Okay, I have bad credit, but a good paying job that I've had for 21 years. How badly will my credit affect the rate I can get?
That's a tough question. How bad is your credit? There's a lot of programs out there that you might still be able to qualify, and if you do, your rate will be a little bit higher. But earlier we talked about credit repair, and it's a viable option that you should look into, because if you can spend just a little bit of money repairing your credit and a little bit of effort, you can save thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars down the road. So, a quarter point on a credit card is nothing, but a quarter point on your mortgage is a lot of money. Well, that is the end of the show. You're listening to Money Matters with Dino on KTalk AM 1150. We can be heard every Saturday afternoon from 12 to 1. And if you have any questions at all about anything you heard here today, don't hesitate. Pick up a pen, write this number down, and call us. It's 949-720-1616. That's 949-720-1616, or check us out online at moneymatterswithdino.com. This week, I want to thank my expert panelists, Ryan and Rob from Reverse Mortgage Educators, and they can be reached at reversemortgageeducators.com. And of course, Mrs. Wright, who is the recipient of a reverse mortgage, who gave us her from implants to helping your grandchildren with college and the many benefits of a reverse mortgage. Guys, thank you so much for coming on the show and educating us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
I hope to have you guys back again. And what I'd really like to do, because there's so much content, is really just kind of pick a few areas and really dive into it a little bit more, and then maybe even create a separate YouTube video for everybody, just because there's I think a little too much, and I know people have a lot of questions. So again, be looking out for our YouTube video on our channel is Power Players Radio, or you can actually just go to our website, moneymatterswithdino.com. It'll be up there hopefully by Monday at the latest. Also, I want a big thank you to my producer, Phil, who puts in all the extra work here, makes me sound good, and, of course, writes the show for us. Phil, thank you so much. But an even more special thank you goes out to you listening right now. You're the reason why I come on the show every single week, and I really appreciate you listening and all the phone calls and interaction I get from you every week. Thank you so much. I hope to see you again next week. And if you have any questions, call us at 949-720-1616. Have an awesome weekend. We'll see you next week. Bye.